Good afternoon. This is Anyssa at the Communication Studio, and this is the YVR Mastermind Group recording, which we're doing today. We had some requests for information on a CRM, and instead of showing details on a CRM, I'm actually going to show you why you need to use a CRM. So why creating a strategic blueprint for your business is actually just as important and should come first before you decide on a CRM and what you're using, and because those are details that are going to be specific to that CRM. I'm currently using Zoho. I have used, this is a presentation I did in regards to Infusionsoft quite a few years ago, and I'm just using it as an outline today, but it still stands. There's nothing really in here that has changed as far as how we go about getting our customers, how we take them from the lead process, nurture them, convert them, and create them into a satisfied customer. So those are the tools you're going to use. Those are, I guess, the strategies that you're going to use to get into a CRM. And we can, at the end, I will go over a couple different CRMs that I've used, some details about them. And one of the challenges with the CRM is sticking with it and really understanding that every single customer that you touch, you need to record into your CRM at what stage they are in the process that we're going to talk about. So creating the process before you even pick a CRM may be really important because it's got to have those features that you're going to use for your strategic marketing blueprint. So let's get into it. So I did this, I think, 2 to 3 years ago. Marketing, as many of us know, used to be pretty straightforward. You'd create a pretty package, it would be on the shelf, and someone would pick your package, tell their neighbor about it, and on your way. And then you would maybe have a TV or a commercial or something like that, or you'd put an ad in the paper and it would just be effective, and you would make some sales. Nowadays, there are so many different products in the marketplace and so many different opinions about those products, it can be a really big challenge. So not only are you having to create a product, you've got to get customers who already like your product out there and sharing content about your product, having a review about your product. You've got to find ways to reach sometimes an audience that you know who they are, but the best way to reach them is online. So you've got to find out how to create pay-per-click campaigns. You've got to do SEO, which is search engine optimization, and you've got to do other things like that, which can be really, as a small business owner, can be very challenging. As a big business owner, you know you're going to have to spend some money and have a marketing budget for that, and possibly even train in-house staff to move through those processes. So it used to be pretty straightforward, but now there's just almost too many options. So it used to be a push, basically. When it came to marketing and sales, you would push things out and you wouldn't necessarily get much back. You didn't get a lot of data back. If someone, I mean, you would know that if your shelf was empty, you needed to refill it. You didn't necessarily know anything about the people who were buying it. There weren't a lot of sales systems. I know when I got out of high school in 1989 and went to work at Suki's in Vancouver, we were one of the first hairdressers to actually have any sort of database or system on a computer of our clients and know what they bought the last time and what kind of shampoo they had purchased. That was really, we were outliers at the time. Even though we were a hair salon, we were one of pretty epic proportions. We had up to 30 stylists on the floor, 8 technicians sometimes working on a Saturday. And for a hairdressing salon, we would do $10,000 to $15,000 days. We would, you know, as a receptionist or a manager, we were actually paying our rent with the shampoo that the commissions on our products that we sold. So we were in a very high-end market, very high-end product that was being pumped out. We were a brand, basically. So we were very much trusted in the industry. We were competitors on an international stage, and we're doing pretty awesome. So we were able to implement systems early. We were able to we were on a, move into the early stages of building systems and knowing what our customers were buying at a very early stage. And I feel really lucky to have been in on that. And there was a gentleman named Michael Gomes who really drove all that. I mean, even just to have a computer and to be able to do a cash out at the end of the day was pretty epic. It was pretty cool. So, but before that, people who were, for a hairdresser, you're just adding up what you made at the end of the day and walking out the door. And you might have have your customer's phone number, but that would be, that's what you would know about them as far as data and statistics. Whereas now there is so much data. People are leaving trails of it every time that they're online, and there are other companies picking up those breadcrumbs and creating technology out of them and what we call big data as well. I know sometimes, for example, on LinkedIn, people wonder about these little packages that were little things we click on that give, can't think of the name right now, give bundles and referrals to people. And, saying someone is good at SEO once, not a big deal, but they're looking at the big data. If 20 people have 20 clicks on a certain thing, they're looking at the even thousands of people and seeing what people are good at. And they're using that big data to then sell back and use for commercialization. So we also have a lot more less physical things being sold as well. So a lot of online training and sales coach stuff. And it used to be very, a lot of what was sold, other than like insurance packages and things like that, or services from a specific person. Everything was a very physical. It was a package on a shelf. And, it was just a very different world. So now, because of all that data, it's easier for us to have a little bit of a bigger picture of where we fit in and how we can create marketing tactics. And we've got Excel spreadsheets that we can go, if we sell this for this, and we take this, and it's going to cost us this much for marketing, here's our outcome. And we can create tactics, and we can manage our business growth, and we can manage our costs with quite a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? We have a lot of information before we make those decisions, basically, so that we can decide when is good to grow, when is not, where we should spend our marketing dollars. We can look at the history of other companies. So it's great. It's awesome. So this is all really good news and really bad news. The good news is, yay, we have all these opportunities. The bad news is now you've got to sort through which ones that are going to actually work for you to build your own brand. So as you'll see in this diagram, that is you right there in the middle. And you've got to, at some point, create your own brand. And you're going to use marketing and PR. You're going to do community work. You're going to get your product out there. You've got to make sales. Maybe you have a product that needs a support system. Maybe you need, like online technical support. You need a crisis plan. Businesses who have their computers down, they need a plan for that. If there's a fire in your building, can you have your computers up and running the next day? What is the cost to that? How does it affect you? Are you storing all your customers' information in the cloud and something gets hacked? I'm in BC, Canada, and there was actually a university that paid $20,000 to get, this is the year right now is 2016. I don't know when you're going to be listening to this recording, but we had a university that was hacked, and it was ransomware, and they paid the $20,000 to get their information back. So they must have decided at some point that it was worth it to get it back and take it seriously. So as you can see from this picture here, all the different information that is available to push out to your customers, whereas it used to be, be very simple. There would be the storefront. They would walk by. They would buy something. They would go home. Maybe they'll tell their neighbor. Maybe they'll see your ad in the newspaper. And you needed to build your brand, in different ways. So customers are also coming to look for you as well, and they're looking for the best product for the best price quite often, and they're not necessarily willing to walk into your store or care who you are. So there isn't necessarily either the loyalty that used to be there in the neighborhood shop. they're just looking for sometimes, the best quality product for the best price at the right time of day. So even all these great big amazing tools can still leave you in the dark and still make you feel a little bit screwed. Because I know people who have spent tons of money and time on social media, but they haven't taken the time to make a plan and construct a pathway or a funnel, as we'll go through a little bit later, for their customers to come in and really be consistent and tweak it until it is absolutely perfect. I was dealing with a customer this week where getting into all the Facebook advertisements and things like this, but their actual product at the other end where people gave them money wasn't ready. So it's about putting the horse before the cart and the cart before the horse and getting things in the right order as well. For example, what I do is I'll take someone's end product, what they want, and we'll do an idea jam. We'll just get up onto a whiteboard. We'll spend literally half a day. We'll get input from everyone else, and we will just go through the details. If this product needs to be, say it's a Christmas product, it's going to sell at Christmas time, and then we need to go back for the next couple months and back from that to what dates different advertisements need to get to certain markets, to who needs to hear about this at certain times, and what is the process for people to purchase it. How does the money get to the bank and the customer get the product? How do they hear about it? And there's certain steps that you need to build in there, and then if they don't work, now you've got something to go back and tweak and fix and use your tools and find a different tool and find what works for you. So typically, this is how a typical customer life cycle will work. So we will put out an ad, we will put out a coupon, we will generate leads and interests, and people don't always buy something right away. They still think the old adage still holds true that someone needs to see your product sometimes 10 times before they purchase it. So I, for example, saw this cute little stove. I don't know how long ago I heard about it. It charges your phone. You put some sticks in it. It generates some light as well. So that it's got a little USB charger. And I heard about it. It was a Kickstarter campaign. Heard about it. I go to my brother's and I see one on his deck. Saw it months and months ago. Still didn't kind of clue in that this is a pretty cool thing. And then we actually went out. I went up to his place and said, you're feeding me dinner tonight. And he said, well, I'm going up to the mountain. You can either come, and if you want to eat, that's where we're doing it. We're doing it at the cabin. And so we went up to the cabin. We ended up roasting hot dogs on this little thing that was charging our phones as well. So that it was an epic, epic landscape. You would not have wanted to miss taking photos of this. So plus we decided to stay overnight. And so when I got home, I started looking online, probably looked 2 or 3 times. They had a new Kickstarter campaign for a renewed version of the product, looked at it, a couple of weeks went by, and then it was like, oh, I'm going away this weekend. It would have been so cool to have that with me. And then eventually I've ordered it. It's actually sitting, I ordered it from Amazon. I looked at their website and Amazon. It was cheaper to buy it on Amazon, but I did all this research, is my point, to become a hot lead. And they sent me an update. I signed in for their updates and stuff. And eventually I'm now a customer through Amazon. And I purchased the product, and it is sitting at my mailbox in North Vancouver. So very cool. So what happens generally is finally we make that big sale, and we take a sigh of relief, and then we go and we start out and we go out and look for new leads. And we forget that that green thing at the bottom there, the customer, that's still our next customer. Quite often that gets forgotten a lot. When we look at the typical life cycle of a customer, we forget that that's our easiest next customer. We need to find out more about what that customer wants from us, what more we can sell them, what more we can do to make their life easy. And we've already spent all this time getting them from being just generally interested in our company, building know, like, and trust, turning them into a hot lead, getting them to buy something, and then we forget about them. It happens all the time. Even if they're on our mailing list, do we really take the time to think who they are, what they want? Maybe, it could be as simple as sending out a survey about, hey, what do you need in your life right now? This is what we specialize. How can we give you more of what we've got? So we need to think about how we do that. So say we got 5,000 leads. So how did you get those leads? What are you using to decide what was the best money spent and decide where you should double if there's a spot where you should spend more time or spend more money. Because sometimes it's maybe you've got one salesperson that's doing an amazing job, and maybe he just can't keep up with all of his all of his leads and turning them into prospects and customers because there's so much paperwork. So should you go out and spend more money on an ad and bring in more leads, or should you be getting him some help, maybe just an assistant to help him turn those prospects into leads and do some of his paperwork for him because he's got that golden touch. So maybe it's helping some of your really good sales people become more efficient. So it's always good to go back and look at where your customers are coming from and how they're converting. So how they're going from prospects to customers. How did they go from leads to prospects? And it's really interesting sometimes. Sometimes it's a surprise. And sometimes it's actually really obvious and we still don't do anything about it. We've got these gaps. We lose leads. I went to a convention. Well, I guess it was a convention. It was a food processors of British Columbia convention. And there's people that totally needed marketing support. But there were so many of them, and I just met them for the first time, and I've been busy doing other things, and I haven't followed up with them. Whereas maybe there was a middle ground where even though I didn't have time to turn them into a prospect right now, even though I've just met them, they're not really a lead yet. They don't know who I am because they're a bigger brand than me. So I really need to go back to them, for example, because I took the time to go to this event, and how am I using the time that I spent really well? And how can I make them turn from a lost lead into traffic to my website? What can I offer them that's going to help them deal with their customers better? What's going to help them make money? What's going to help them, for us, it would be helping them maybe enroll some of their staff into enrolling customers, or even just making sure that their staff is getting bigger orders, because these are a lot of wholesalers and stuff. So maybe it's just going in and doing some work with staff and working on their internal marketing, because sometimes you've got the opportunity to do upsells and you're missing money from customers that you already have. So that's the kind of thing I could do for them, and I haven't had time to go back and look at how I've not got them into my funnel. I took their business card, I've done an initial phone call with a couple of them, and not done the follow-up to build that know, like, and trust that you need before they're going to become even a prospect or a lead. So once you've got some tactics that work, are you using them again? So I, for example, I've hired a sales coach, and with her, I'm going over with some of my tactics that work, going through ones that don't, and she slaps me and says, "Don't do that. Don't be stupid." She says she's kind of bitchy. I think she's great because she just gets me back online to plugging my holes in my bucket, or plugging the holes in my strategy and getting back on track and looking at what really, really works. And it takes time to stop and take time with your staff. Taking half a day or even 2 hours with your staff to look at what your strategies are and where your customers are coming from can be so valuable. It can really take you forward. I know sometimes we don't want to take the time out to stop and do staff training and really increase our communication level, but doing that, sometimes you end up 10 times further as far as your income, because you've taken time to find your little glitches and move forward. So I can't actually remember what this slide was about, but I think it had something to do with people finding each other and making it really easy and communicating. So we're just going to skip this. So as you know, I know there is not a small business owner out there who doesn't know that there are all these social media tools. ACT, as you can see on this thing, is really representing a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, which is really why some people are here tonight online watching and listening, is because they were interested in Zoho and a CRM and managing their customers. I use Zoho to bring in and list my leads and list when they turn into prospects. I actually use it for invoicing as well. And then it also has a project management component as well as many up. It has lots of little pieces you can add in as you need them. So you can do your newsletter and your email campaigns as well, and just keep working on it through there and get all your leads into one spot. So I actually have an app on my phone for Zoho that when I am at Vancouver Independent Professionals and we have guests, so we have I think about 20 current members. So I have all of our current members who are the influencers and my inner circle all in Zoho as well. And whenever we have new customers or new guests come into our meeting, I scan their card. I make sure that they go in as a lead into my CRM, and I get their details and I follow up with them. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's just hooking up on LinkedIn. First, I decide is what my coach calls if they're in my bucket. So if they're actually somebody that I want to do business with, and I have a set of criteria of, maybe that they have 3 or 4 staff that they are, or maybe they're in the financial industry, so they're making a significant income, enough to hold at least an office space, maybe in the financial district. So I've got a list of criteria that says either they're in my bucket to become a lead, or they're not. And if they're not, I'm not even probably. Maybe I will put them in my CRM. I'll put them down because you never know who people know. So it's not a matter of disrespect either. But I won't be spending too much time marketing to them once I've decided whether they're in my bucket or outside of my bucket. And sometimes you don't know that until you've made that phone call and done the follow-up with them, which is one of people's, and mine, I am guilty as well, is one of, if I go to a room and say, so how many people here have been out to a networking event and have a stack of business cards on the side of their desk that they have not followed up on? Even now in the day and age when we say we aren't going to use business cards anymore and we're going to be all digital, I can still get 50% of the room to put their hands up because they haven't done anything. So they've invested the time to go out to a networking event or a social evening. They've collected cards in, but it really wasn't for business purposes. It was obviously just for pleasure because they haven't followed up with those customers. They haven't got a plan. They haven't implemented any sort of strategy to moving forward in their business. They're just randomly going out to events and they don't have a funnel for them. And therefore they have chaos because then it also creates this system of guilt. So you can have all these tools and tactics and a strategy, but if you don't have, if you haven't got them all in alignment and have a clear plan about what your move is going to be, then it's very hard to move forward. So once you've created a framework for your plan, and you can now create your perfect customer life cycle. So this is kind of like this funnel going sideways. And you're going to decide how you're going to attract your traffic, capture your leads, nurture your prospects, convert them into sales, and then create a satisfied customer. So once you've created a satisfied customer, what are you going to do with them now? Please, please, please don't forget about them. Don't drop them. Decide what they need next. Upsell them. Stay in contact with them. I know some realtors that started sending out thank you cards with a picture of the house that they were selling, and that would go out obviously to the person that they sold it to with a great big thank you note, some brownies. It was through send out cards, and their referrals went up by 70%. That's huge. That's 70% of their business. They didn't have to go and run an ad in the paper. They didn't have to pay for an SEO professional or pay-per-click or anything like that. So those referral customers are worth so much. But the point is they have a plan for it. Every time they create a customer, they have an upsell plan. They have a plan for getting more referrals. A typical real estate client or mortgage client, you only get in contact. You only actually make another sale off of them in possibly 5 years or until they're going to downsell. But what are you doing to stay in contact with that customer that can still be a really good lead, or maybe they have family or somebody else? So still really valuable after you've made that sale. So what I love to do is actually get onto a whiteboard, I call it an idea jam, and map out a plan. So it can be for a specific event, it can be for a specific product, but it really needs to be customer centric, very specific to who your customer is. Are they going to open their emails? Are they going to react to pay-per-click ads? Do they need to have something in the actual post in the snail mail? Do they need a phone call? I have a dealership where I would take my car in, and once I was done, they would call and just say, hey, how did everything go today? Did you get your car back in good shape? Was it clean? Was it this? Was it that? And I didn't mind at all. I didn't mind at all, even if sometimes it was just a voicemail, but it was a very personal touch, that follow up. In this case, actually, it was from the owner's wife as well. So I just thought that was awesome. So what are you doing to make your customers feel really special and making it part of, not just when you feel like it, part of a plan? So what are you doing to attract your traffic? Write it down. Out of that traffic, what is working best to capture leads? Once you've got those leads in, what is it taking to nurture those prospects? Is it a whole bunch of emails? Sometimes like a 4-part email. There's a guy named Bill, can't think of his last name. He sent out a set of 4 videos, and it was on how to do a really great, how to capture sales basically through just your conversation. How would you talk to people to create and close your sales? And one of the things I really took away from that is talking to people and find out where they are, where they want to be, and what they feel they need to get to where they want to be. And then you can step in after you've taken time to listen and create the solutions for them and show them how you're the one who can, obviously within your niche, fill that solution. So even just having, as much as people don't like cold calling, but having that script ready to go so that you know what to say to someone, and you're going to say the same thing every time. Obviously, you're going to tweak it a little, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do once you've got that satisfied customer? Are you going to, as soon as the sale goes through, send them a thank you card? Let them know that you have a painter that can come by and do a quote on the new house, because maybe there's something that they want to upgrade if they've just bought like a used house. If it's a used car, maybe it's to send them their first oil change for free. I don't know. What can you do to upsell your customer after the sale that makes them feel special, makes them feel like they're getting a lot of value for their money? Great story, actually. A friend of mine's, my daughter's fiance's best friend came by the other night, and we set up his LinkedIn profile, and he was telling me a story where he sold a guy a truck. And when the guy came to pick it up, he had filled it. This was his thing. Instead of a gift card, he knew the guy had kids. He knew that he was using this truck because he wanted to take the kids to the beach more and do more fun stuff with them. So he went out and bought a big pack of sand toys, like a mound of them, probably from the dollar store or something. I don't know. And he put a great big package of fun beach toys in the back of the truck. So when the guy came to pick it up, it was like this extra treat. That wasn't, because he knew that the truck was not for this guy. It was his first brand new truck. It wasn't about, yes, obviously it was about the shiny paint, but it was that he had something that he was really proud to take his kids out in and hang out and do daddy stuff and have a good time. So do you think that guy told other people about that experience? Where'd you get the sand toys? Oh, my car salesman, he did this special thing. He made him feel really special. I think that was pretty awesome. So what are you doing through this entire process to make sure at the end you're also getting those referrals? If you have an online business, sometimes that's a little bit different, but sometimes you can do a blend. So here's an example of a financial planner. She's got her letters laid out. She's got her online sign-up form for her newsletter. She's got offers. She's got a plan about what she's going to do once she gets someone into her funnel. Oops. So we've got blog posts, videos. Videos are extremely important. How-to videos. Of course, what we don't have listed here is podcasting as well. Social media. I've got a video. If you're interested, you can go into our free members area. There's no cost, but it's just if you've never done a lot of social media, I walk through some of the top platforms, and it's not a how-to, it's a why introduction to different platforms, what they might be used for, some ideas, so that I think that, in my opinion, so many different platforms change on a regular basis. So you have to know why you're interested in them, and you will keep learning how to use them. So when you get to online marketing, you've got what's called PPC, which is pay per click, SEO, which is search engine optimization. So it's something, for example, you may go and do a blog or on your pages on your website, and you may pay someone, for example, to help you with the search engine optimization to find out exactly what words are going to help your website convert in the search engines. So, and same with videos. A lot of them need to be optimized as well to be found. I have a friend, Julia, at Cockadoo Media, for example, and she optimizes videos, and she speaks Mandarin and Russian, so she, and I think she probably speaks a few languages in between as well as English, and it gives her a lot of power in understanding how people think and talk, and she's able to actually, in the Chinese market, she's got videos that have ranked above some of the great big Chinese marketing companies. So if you are into videos, I highly recommend talking to Julia at Cockadoo Media about your videos and the strategies that she uses to get those videos listed at very high in Google. I think her and her husband actually also own a company that creates the videos as well. So also, referral partners are going to be a really important part of your strategy as well. So who's referring you customers? So I, for example, go to, I have a real live marketing group that I go to. It's a business group on Tuesday mornings downtown in Vancouver. It's a membership group. We have people that drop in, but we're constantly referring business to each other, and we're also supporting each other. So I consider them my business partners, which is kind of cool. And they help me go through this process because they give me referrals. They actually, they help qualify me to other people because I'm part of the group. They show that I've been in business for a considerable amount of time. And when somebody purchases, they might actually even help me with the upsell as well. Because I've also got people there that I can build partnerships with to maybe offer a value-added bonus or something like that to my product. What can you do? It's a matter of looking around and seeing who you're doing business with and how you can assist each other to be successful. Oops, let's go back. Very touchy computer. Okay, so lead capture strategies. So you might have different target markets. So you might create a custom campaign for women, and you might create a custom campaign for men, because maybe it's even, for example, when I do Facebook marketing and we create an ad, we might do two different taglines, but then change one with a picture of a guy barbecuing compared to a picture of a woman in the kitchen, or a man in the kitchen, man doing childcare, depending on what we're selling, and then we'll change the taglines as well. And we're going to go through and create a strategy to find out which ones get clicked on and which ones don't, and go through an A/B testing kind of system. We'll do just little ad spends to get there to see which ones get clicked, put them up, kind of compete them against each other. But what are you doing to nurture those strategies? What are you doing to find where your hot leads and warm leads are coming from, and what are you doing? So maybe, great example. There was a natural oil company. He had this product. It was smelled kind of, could be male or female, and it's just a skin product. But guys were like, "Do you have any beard oil?" And he's like, "Here." And they're like, "No, that's for girls." So he just repackaged it, made it into beard oil, and created a new campaign around beard oil. Same product, same packaging, different text. So how can you personalize something maybe to exactly the message that your customer needs to hear? Maybe it's even the same product in the same bottle, but maybe you have to customize and personalize something just a little bit. I love that example. I actually could have bought the other oil, and I bought the beard oil just for fun. Um, so what are you doing then to make sure that stuff like that actually converts? And how can you then, now that you've got a converting product, what can you do to start to automate some of those sales strategies? Sometimes that takes a little bit more hand holding. Sometimes it takes a little bit more active, but you have you need to be a little bit more proactive. But what are you doing to work on those? And sometimes, like, for example, I have had a book that I wrote like 8 or 9 years, 5 years ago, 5 years ago, and I'm finally getting it up online. A lot of it, luckily, was very much evergreen content, so it didn't go out of date. I'm going to go in and tweak it and format it a little bit. But getting it online, it took so much effort, and it's something that completely automates itself. I already have students, and I just send them there. They can re-listen to the webinars that we give, and they can go through some of the worksheets, just get that little bit further than we did in, say, a 2-hour class, and do a little bit of work on their own, and then maybe go into our mastermind group as well. Maybe come out to YVR masterminds. Who knows? We shall see. So when you're going through and converting, are you going also and finding out what your objections are? So, for example, with the oil, the objection was that, well, that's a girl product, right? So what are you doing to find out what those objections are? Maybe it's sending out a survey. I use something called ClickFunnels for my membership site. And one of the things it can do is it has a survey section. So I can create a survey for the people that go through my projects and go through my training funnel. And I can ask them a survey and say, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? And I'm learning about them as they are using my product, which is awesome. And sometimes that might be a phone call or a follow-up, depending on your product. And don't just do it haphazardly. Do something where you can have follow-up evidence, especially if you plan on being in business for a long time. You want to see what your strategies are that are converting sales. So the other thing too is people are expecting a little bit more personalization quite often. Ironically, we say that upon delivery, yes, but there's also, it depends on your product too. If you're a real estate agent or investor, people do expect very personalized care. If I'm going to the chiropractor, I expect personalized care. When I'm ordering something on Amazon, I am not expecting personalized care. I want my product. I know that it's mass produced. I'm sure the owners love that I bought the product, but they don't really, I think it's good. So I think it really depends on your customer, how you're going to wow them. Now, for example, if I were contacted about my little camp stove that I bought, I would probably be wowed. And if maybe they want to do a video on my first little camp stove experience, because I can't wait to go pick it up, that'd be kind of cool. That could become something you could, maybe they want maybe I haven't looked, maybe I could do a little Instagram video on using my campfire for the first time. And maybe I win some free lights with that, because they have little plug-in lights that charge for the nighttime while you're cooking your dinner, basically, which is very cool. It's just a little USB plug. Maybe they would enjoy that. We can put it out there to the campfire gods that if I do a little video, they'll send me some free lights, because I didn't order them, because I already have one, but I would love to have a whole campsite full of little lights. It would be very cool. You hang them in the trees. And what are you doing at the end of the day to get back on track here, to measure your customer satisfaction? So I have a very good friend who does conferences, and at the end of it, he talked to a lot of, not just his customers, but the speakers, and he got feedback on what he was doing. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They don't look at how they can improve and what can make their product better. Are you giving your customers and your teammates and your the people that are helping you with your business the opportunity to let you know how you can improve, and not take it personally? It's business. It's hard not to sometimes, but it's business. What can we do to keep getting better and serve our customers? I was listening to Anthony Robbins talk today while I was working on my membership site, and he was talking about the word hero, and a lot of us want to be heroes, especially people in leadership roles. And he said that actually the word hero comes from the Greek word basically to serve. And I can't think of, I wrote it down in my notebook somewhere earlier today, to serve. I have it with me, hero, servo, which meant slave. So how are we helping others to have a great experience and help them with their needs? And that is the true meaning of hero. So how can you be a hero in your business? Very cool stuff. Therefore, you're creating that. You've delivered and you've satisfied and you've become a hero to your customers. It's going to get you to the next level where they're going to build into the next sale, and you'll be able to upsell to them, cross-sell them, and see what else that they want. Therefore, referring people to you. So you can actually ask for referrals and then track them and give bonus added things to people. Sometimes, for example, I referred a mortgage to someone and I got like a $50 or $100 gift card to a Keg, which is a local restaurant, I think just in BC. So it's like a steakhouse. So I got to go out for a $50 meal, which was, that was pretty cool. It was nice. I've had Starbucks cards given to me. I've had lots of great little referral gifts for sending someone off to someone. That's the benefit of networking, and especially if they're happy customers as well. So using something like send out cards, you don't even have to go and purchase those cards, because send out cards will actually include a Starbucks card or other kind of gift cards and stuff. You can mail movie cards. There's all sorts of things you can do to give people a pat on the back when they send you a referral and thank you for giving them a good service. So, and on LinkedIn as well, giving people a testimonial on LinkedIn is really, really valuable. So when they do that, that actually, I'm just thinking out loud, that's a great reason to send someone a Starbucks card, because those testimonials on LinkedIn are so valuable when you've had a good experience with someone. So what are you doing to map out your perfect customer life cycle? So this is something that I do. I will take half a day with people, do an idea jam, and just go through what the perfect customer life cycle is. And it can get really detailed, and sometimes it takes multiple staff members coming through and putting in ideas and understanding what each business system is and what the capabilities are and what is available to people. Who knows what they need? Sometimes there's some little missing piece that's not connecting one piece of content maybe to an opportunity that would let the customer get to that next level in the sales funnel. So what is your process for your sale? So we're going to skip through these last slides because actually I don't think that link is still there. So I would take this slide here and I would download it and break it down. And if you want to go over to, I will have to put a link up on our website. For now, it's just going to be on YVR Masterminds. I will post a link to this talk. It will go up tomorrow, and it will be, because it is currently being recorded, I believe. And I will also create the worksheets for this as well. And we'll post that up, how you're going to look at attracting because we can take this sheet here and you break it down. How are you attracting traffic? Once you've got that traffic, how are you capturing those leads? Once you've got them into your lead funnel, you already know that they're interested in your product. What are you doing to nurture them along? How are you touching them possibly up to 10 times to build know, like, and trust, which then will convert into a sale? And once you've made that sale, I don't know if anyone's had that experience where you finally gave somebody your money and then the experience took a nosedive, a total nosedive. So you've made that sale and you've got their money, but this isn't the time to give up or stop or take the, it's like, now's the time to really impress them, because this is your best way to get 2 new customers. If they go out and rant and rave about you because you've not just taken their money, you've delivered and satisfied their need, they're going to be your next customer. You can upsell them to your next product. They're going to offer the opportunity for referrals possibly. So don't mess it up. So anyway, this is Anyssa. This is the Communication Studio. You have just enjoyed a YVR Mastermind recording, and it will be up on the Communication Studio and also YVR Masterminds on Facebook. And the Communication Studio Facebook page is just Communication Studio. So we'll have lots of different ways where you can get access to this on our free membership site, and we'll go from there. I hope you all have a great evening. I'm totally enjoying the Kamloops weather. I've been up here for a week with my daughter and her little tiny family, with my grandson Odin and her partner Bill, and going to go off and enjoy an evening with some old friends as well from here. So take care and have a good night from Anyssa at the Communication Studio. Take care.